about the EAW RS115 15-inch powered subwoofer. Now first you'll probably notice I do have the amp out, and that is because I had to send it in for warranty repair. I'll go over that in just a little bit. I bought 4 of these, and I bought them to replace my Electro Voice EKX 15 SPs. Not necessarily that I thought this was going to be an upgrade, but I had somebody that wanted to buy my Electro Voice ones, and I thought it gave me a good opportunity to try out some EAW gear. I would kind of correlate these two subs, the EKX 15 SP and the RS115, pretty much on par with each other. I think price-wise they're on par with each other. Size, weight, sound output, and even sound quality, they're kind of on par. The biggest difference is going to be with the amp and the way they implement the crossover, but I'll talk about that in a second too. As you can see, I did buy these with casters. I did not buy the casters originally. Originally, I just bought the cover, but the way the cover works is it's definitely designed to be used with casters, meaning when your sub is on the wheels and the grill is up, the case is designed to slip over, a flap flips around the amp to protect it, and that's how it fits. So it's kind of designed to be used with the casters. Now originally I thought I would just use it without the casters and just have full protection on the amp, or on the subwoofer. But the issue I ran into was without the casters, you just kind of inherently wind up like maybe moving it around a little bit. Like you obviously slide it into a shelf. You maybe adjust it more once it's on the ground. And the little rubber feet on the bottom, I found started to actually wear through the cover. And so I originally didn't want the casters. I didn't think I needed them. The sub's not that heavy. I was just going to throw it on a rock and roller and call it a day. I ended up buying the casters more or less just to protect the cover. And I've got the cover right here. It's kind of one of those covers, obviously, like I said, you flip it over the top when the grill's up, but you can also unzip the front and expose the grill. So you don't even necessarily have to take the cover off when you're using the sub. You just unzip the front, flip it up, and it works. Now my one gripe about that, Yamaha with their DXS XLF subwoofers, the 15 and the 18, they have the same kind of system with their covers. But what Yamaha did was, when the subwoofer is on its back on the wheels, you can unzip the front and flip it open. And there's mesh there, which makes it so the case doesn't just fall to the ground. EAW didn't put that mesh in. So if you have it back on its wheels and you flip the cover open and flip it, the cover just falls to the ground. You have to like hold the cover up and set the subwoofer down, or lay the subwoofer down like this and then zip it down and over. But the problem is when you do that, you zip it down, you hit the ground. So you gotta like put your fingers under the sub, lift the sub, zip over, and then zip up. And it's not like that's the end of the world, but I find like those little details the things that matter, especially when you're buying, you buy a $900 sub and you buy, I don't know, $150 case to go with it. I'm just not sure the price off the top of my head, so I'm just kind of spitballing those numbers. But cases are expensive, and they're just a profit generator for manufacturers. I would like to see a little bit more care and quality put into covers. So that's why I'm a little hypercritical about them. As far as the fit of the case, I'd give it maybe a 7 out of 10. When it's on and you go to flip the covers over the amp, it's maybe a little tight in one direction, a little loose in the other. It's okay. I'd give it a 7 out of 10. If they had just made a cover where when the sub is laying on the ground like this, you just put the cover over it like you do for the EKXs, I probably just would have bought that cover. It's cool that they made a caster cover combo like this. I just don't think it's necessarily needed. But if you're going to have a cover, I feel like you got to do it this way with the casters. So it just adds a little bit more cost to it. As far as the looks of the sub, I really like the looks of it. I'd maybe say it'd be a little cooler if they would have blacked out the EAW logo. They didn't, but it still is a pretty cool looking sub. I think size-wise, it is a good size. I rent these out quite a bit, and it is pretty easy just to like tip it and slide it into somebody's back seat. I started going with 15s because I would have a lot of people rent an 18-inch sub and then show up with a car, and I would be trying to stuff it into their passenger seat. And while a lot of times I could do that, it was tricky sometimes. So 15s just work better for rentals, size-wise, and weight-wise, they're just a little easier for people to handle. One of my gripes about having casters on a rental product, well, it makes it easier for the rental customer to move it around. One issue I had with my 18-inch subs, and I'm only speculating on this, but I think I had a few shifted magnets on my 18-inch subs. I think people would, roll them where they wanted to on the casters and then flip them down and kind of drop them as they were flipping them forward. And I think that's what caused a few of my shifted magnets. Now, I haven't had any shifted magnets with these, and I think it's just due to the fact that the subwoofer is a lot lighter and a lot easier to tip over for a customer, so I don't think it's necessarily a problem. But with a car pack, the casters do add extra bulk on the back side, so they're not quite as compact as they would be without the caster. Like I said, weight-wise, pretty easy to lift and maneuver wherever you need to. Sound-wise, I think they sound good. I think this is a good balance between a 15-inch that hits low so it actually sounds like a subwoofer. Sometimes you get a 15 where it doesn't really sound that much different than your tops because it's really hitting that like 80 to 90 hertz to get loud. Whereas I think this one tends to hit more that kind of 60 to 70 hertz is kind of where it's punchiest. So you kind of get that low, like I've actually got a subwoofer sound. So it kind of hits that lower frequency range. And it does 132 decibels output, I think, which isn't crazy. A lot of 18s will do 134 to 136 these days. So 132 I think is respectable for a 15-inch. I don't think I'd want to go much lower than that. Output-wise, I'll give two stories here. So 132 dB. I had a DIY DJ rental for a backyard wedding where I just went out, set everything up, came back later and tore it down. I brought my buddy Anthony with me for the teardown, and they were still playing a couple last songs waiting for me to arrive. And they were out in the backyard. We pulled up in the front driveway. And as soon as we pulled up, we could like hear the bass. We were on the other side of the house, so we couldn't really hear the highs that much, but we could hear the bass. And Anthony was like, dang, what did they rent? And I was like, just one of my new 15-inch subs. And he's like, oh, just one? And like, yep. And it sounded good. Like, I mean, they had it cranking. They had the knob up, and I mean, it was beefy for what they were doing in the backyard. So I think intended purpose-wise, like that was perfect, right? Now, not intended purpose-wise, tell this other story. So I was doing sound for Carrie Underwood's former drummer, who is now a keynote speaker, and I was working a corporate event. And I was at my favorite venue to mix at in town. They have a Nexo line array and Nexo subs. And like their sub stack, they have 3 subs on each side, and the sub stack is, I don't know, it's taller than I am. Thing's probably 6 feet tall, 6.5. So huge sub stacks, line array. It sounds good. I enjoy mixing on that system. But he just wanted it loud, like super loud. And of course he's on stage, and a line array and those subs do a really good job at projecting sound forward. Like, while it's loud on stage, it's not nearly as loud on stage as it is out front. So, I mean, it was just screaming. And now, mind you, we're just doing drums here. So I've got like the full like PA, just like just the drums are just cranking in there. And we we go to mix his monitors, and I had one of these subs with the 12 on top of it for his drum monitor system. And he's like, okay, can I get more kick? Can I get more kick? Can I get more kick? And like, I'm looking at the back of the sub, and I'm like, it's like, man, that's all I got, splashing red. And I was on the stage with my tablet doing it, and I couldn't even hear this sub over the PA subs. And now, granted, this is, I would in general say, a middle of the road, like maybe upper middle, 15-inch powered sub. And obviously the main PA is like a Nexo line array. So I'm not saying it as a negative towards this sub, but 132 dB is going to run out of gas before, two 6.5 foot stacks of Nexo subs are. And so the sub almost didn't even need to be there. I don't know if anything needed to be there. He had the drums just so loud in the PA. It was insane. They actually ended up asking me to turn it down, and I said, man, you got to talk to him because he keeps telling me he wants it to go louder. And I've maxed out the line array. Like, it is as loud as it would go. I mean, 5 minutes in front of that and you'd peel off half your skin on your face. It was loud. But we ended up turning it down a little bit, and it probably made it a little bit better. But anyways, probably not quite the place for this sub unless you're going to use a few of them in a drum stack. But he obviously, I think, had some hearing issues, and he wanted things just overly loud, like louder than they needed to be. But it was kind of funny that you couldn't even tell the sub was there. But other than that, proper use cases, DJ uses, small band PA, you have 4 of these, pull mount the RS115s on top. I think you'd have a good system. Just, realize the use cases for the speakers. And, if you're doing a drum wedge, maybe bring 2 of them. I think I'd bring 2 of them standard next time instead of just thinking one would do. But would I recommend this sub? Heck yeah, I would. As I say that, though, normally I wouldn't. So let's go back to the amp. The amp that failed on me. So normally if I have a product failure, I bought 4 of these, one of them failed, first summer I had them. Normally, if that happens, I do not recommend a product. Because I'm kind of a stickler for when I buy something for my rental business. I don't care if it comes with a 10-year warranty. Not that this comes with a 10-year warranty, but I don't care if it did. If it fails 20 times in that 10 years, that's just that much time it's out of my inventory, depending upon how long it takes warranty repair to happen. And, these days, post-COVID, I mean, there's a lot of manufacturers making excuses out there for not fulfilling their warranty obligations, which, in my viewpoint, I'm starting to think it's something to where, I hate to say the government should intervene or something, but if somebody is off, I'm going to bring up Music Tribe here. If somebody buys a product that has, like, say a 2-year warranty on it, and you ship it in because something went bad on it, and they don't fix it for a year, and they're like, oh yeah, we don't have any parts, But meanwhile, they're cranking out new products with the exact same parts that could be used to fix your gear. That's an issue. And I think that is a blatant disregard for your warranty. And I don't know, I feel like some Music Tribe customers that are running into it, there should be some sort of class action lawsuit or something. The manufacturers need to be held accountable for fulfilling their warranty obligations, or do not put a warranty on your product. So that stuff just annoys the crap out of me. End of rant on that. But in general, I want a product that's designed good, has good quality control through manufacturing, and isn't going to fail on me. So in general, if something fails on me, usually I'll say, probably not good enough for my rental inventory. Especially if it fails on me, within the first summer. Not like I just bought it and it died and it was kind of DOA type of thing. But died somewhere throughout, my first year of having it. So I bought 4 of these. One of the amps died, 25% failure rate. Not a huge fan of those odds, but on this point, I am going to give EAW the benefit of the doubt because they gave me really good warranty service. So this sub had died, and I went on a trip to the Philippines, and I didn't fix it and didn't fix it and didn't fix it. And then I thought, well, summer's coming, so I should probably get this subwoofer back in service. So one day in my office, it was probably 4:30 p.m. Central Time. I went on their website and plugged everything in for a warranty claim, submitted my proof of purchase. And I assumed maybe they would get back to me in the next couple of days. It was like 15, maybe 20 minutes, and I already had an email reply. So that kind of caught me off guard. I was pretty surprised on that. And they just had a list of questions for me. And the reason I'm surprised, it's EAW, Eastern Acoustic Works. I assume they're in the Eastern time zone, and I was emailing them at 4:30 Central Time. So I found that pretty impressive, just the fact that they replied the same day and how quick they replied. But I gave them the information they needed, and I think it was like the next day they had another automated email kind of kick out as they plugged it into their system. Now, they plugged it into their system wrong and actually sent me an invoice for a new sub, which, if you're not an EAW dealer and you try to buy a subwoofer from them, they don't sell it to you for MAP. Not what Sweetwater or any other retailer would sell it for. They sell it to you for MSRP, so they wanted like $1,600. Like, it was just crazy because you can buy this new for I think $899. I'm not sure exact current MAP pricing, but I think it was $899. And so I was like, whoa, buddy, I don't want a new subwoofer. I want my amp fixed. So I emailed him back, and he's like, oh, shoot, sorry about that. And then he plugged it in the right way and kicked me out an RMA to send this back in. Anyways, I sent it in right away, and I want to think, maybe, let's say business week to ship it to them. They maybe had it a business week and then a week to ship it back to me. So realistically, 3-week turnaround time, with the majority of that just being shipping time. I thought that was pretty solid. Now, I was looking at this today because I'm actually going to put this back in the sub today. I just wanted to make this video while it was out. I can't confirm this for sure, but I'm thinking the reason they had such a fast turnaround time is I'm thinking I might have gotten a refurbished amp. Now, I think, and the only reason I think this is because if you look at my serial number, it almost seems like they pried it up, put a little heat on there, pried it up, popped it off, and put it on a new amp. So I'm not 100% sure on that. I have nothing to verify that claim, but I am assuming the fast turnaround is, maybe they just have a few of these refurbished from fixing them. And, it's just easier to pop my serial number on a new refurbished amp and then eventually refurbish my amp, and then that'll go out to somebody else. I don't mind it because the amp is in good shape. It looks new. Might be a very slight scratch mark down here, but it could just be my amp too. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure on the serial number. I just don't remember the serial number peeling off on the sub that I sent out. So that's the only thing I can potentially think might be the case with why I got this back so fast. But that whole warranty thing, now I've waited like, I don't know, a month and a half to make this video. I was like, I'm not putting this amp back in until I make the video. So it's been sitting here for probably a month and a half now. But I'm going to get it in now. And if it doesn't work for some odd reason, I'll be making a new update video. But my hope is that I'll plug it in. The subwoofer will work fine, and I'll never see another issue again. So I would definitely recommend buying this right now. It's definitely on my recommended list. I actually think I own 4 of the 15s. I'd kind of like to have a couple 18s in my rental inventory, and I'm contemplating buying two of the 18s of this series. Originally, I'd gotten rid of all of my 18s out of my rental inventory because it's just easier to load people up with 15s, but you do get the occasional people that would like to have an 18 over a 15. So I really should have at least two in my rental inventory. And I think I might stick with this series. Don't quote me on that though, because I did, just off in the distance here, you can't see it on camera, but I did order two of the QSC LA 108 line array speakers to test out. I only bought two because I was trying to decide, I wanted two of the 8s for front fills no matter what. I was trying to decide if I should do 8s or 12s for the mains. And I just really like the size of those things and the clarity. So I ended up ordering two more, so I'll have 4, which I think makes a usable, pair per side. Eventually I'll order 2 more so I can do the full 3 stack, or 2 with 2 front fills. But I think I'll do a 3 stack and then just use 10s for front fills for now. And then eventually I'd like to have 8 of those. And after that, I might buy 2 of the 18-inch matching LS118 subs. I'm not 100% sure though. I might just stick with Electro Voice. I'm kind of, or not Electro Voice. I might just stick with EAW. I'm kind of going back and forth on that, so that decision will probably be made more towards the fall, so I'll have a while to decide. It all depends upon if I want to get the array frame and have a really nice looking uniform stack, because the LS series 18-inch subs are the exact width of the tops. I won't get that uniform look if I do the EAW subs. But if I'm pole mounting all the time, it really doesn't matter if they're completely uniform or not. So I might just save the money and go with the EAW, and then that way all my subs are of the same series. But yeah, I recommend the sub. I think it sounds good. Price to performance of this 15-inch sub, I would say is probably the best you can find out there. Price to performance to weight. You can go heavier with 15-inch subs and obviously get a better 15-inch sub, but the weight and size difference is pretty extreme. Like, I would like the Yamaha DXS15 XLF, but it's bigger, it's heavier, and I just don't think it's, if you're buying a 15-inch sub, you're buying it for a reason over an 18. If I wanted big and heavy, I'd just buy an 18, but I want a little bit more compact, a little bit more lightweight, just a little bit more easy to move around. I don't want to break my back every time I want to sub out. And this thing's small enough where I can slide it under a table. If I'm DJing a wedding, nobody even knows it's there. Actually, I did a wedding for a guy that used to work for me, and he wasn't there when I was setting up, so everything was set up, and then I had my, I think 12s for mains, and we were playing some music, and he's like, yeah, are these just the tops? And I was like, no, I got a subwoofer under the table. And he's like, oh, okay. Because I was thinking, man, those tops are kicking. And anyway, so that's the one thing I do like about a 15, is it can be discreetly hit under a table, sound good, and just really add that extra low end to a sound system. Not that you're going to get earth-shattering bass that's going to rumble things off tables or anything, but you just get a nice full sound out of it, and it can be discreet like that. So that's why I like the 15s over the 18s sometimes, but there are times where you need an 18, something big and heavy, and for that you just got to go big and heavy. But I like my 15s, and eventually I'll add 18s. Any questions? Feel free to throw it down in the comments section.